Welcome to Stop Overthinking, the podcast for overthinkers, people pleasers, and perfectionists who want to feel calm and confident enough to handle whatever life sends your way. I'm your host, Kristen Odegaard, a women's life and mindset coach, lifelong educator, and recovering perfectionist. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to episode 23 of the Stop Overthinking podcast. Today, we are talking about now or later. In this episode, I'm talking about now or later in terms of when it's going to be uncomfortable, when you are going to experience discomfort. And you have a choice. You can do it now or you can do it later. The problem is that most of my clients, most of the people, and myself included, we don't want to experience discomfort or feel uncomfortable or those negative emotions. And so we think if we just wait around and think about it for a little bit more, or don't take action, or wait for the other person to change, then we aren't going to have to deal with it. And frankly, that's just not how the world works. I have talked about this before, but it has come up again and again in coaching sessions this past week. So I just want to take a few minutes with a short episode and talk a little bit more about this and how you can help yourself to be able to move through discomfort and understand that you can't always avoid it. So it's not a sexy topic. It's not something that everybody's like, yay, let's be uncomfortable, right? But it happens. So for example, if you are stressing out, needing to set a boundary, let's say with your mother-in-law, and you are saying you can't just, so the option is you can have that discomfort right now and not do anything about it and keep going, let the cycle perpetuate and continue, or you are going to have the uncomfortable conversation with the opportunity that later it's going to feel better. So you have the uncomfortable conversation now, talk about setting the boundary, whatever her reaction is going to be, and it's going to be a little bit uncomfortable, but there is a possibility that it's better in the future. Whereas if you just stay right now, simmering in your frustration and resentment, there isn't a chance that it's going to get better. Just waiting for the other person to do something different just keeps you stuck. Okay, but waiting for the right time or this magic moment or for things to line up so that you don't have to have the uncomfortable conversation, that you don't have to feel bad, that you don't have to do anything, and you're just magically going to feel better. It's just not realistic. I also talk to people all the time about work being so stressful, and I have a whole podcast on when you don't like your job. You can go back, or I'll link it in the notes. Okay, so and what happens with this? And maybe it's one day, maybe it's a coworker, maybe it's the whole job in itself. So you're uncomfortable with it now, and you come home and you're crabby and you don't like it and you don't look forward to each day or whatever it is. And you can choose to sit in that because you don't want to face the unfamiliar of making changes, of taking a different action, of thinking about your job differently. And so you stay. Or you experience some discomfort making the change, either with your mindset or to a new job or having a conversation, whatever it is, again, with the possibility that it's going to be better in the future. So you can have that discomfort now and make it better in the future, or you can have the discomfort now and still later by doing nothing about it. But you don't get to run away from it. You don't get to just say that if I think about this harder or longer or do more research, or if I ignore it, that it's all going to go away and I'm just going to feel better. Or if my boss would just act differently, then I wouldn't have to deal with this. You can stay there. You can keep doing that. But the discomfort of sitting in that moment and dealing with that really is up to you. How long are you going to stay there? Or What can you do that's still going to be uncomfortable because you're uncomfortable right now anyway? It's still going to be a different level of uncomfortable, but give you an opportunity for something better in the future. And we don't get to just avoid it. Okay. And remember, it sounds good. Like it sounds good that you don't ever want to be frustrated or angry or mad. But unless you have some sort of comparison, it's really hard to be able to have the good moments too. Think of your emotions like a pendulum that swings back and forth, right? You can't have one end that goes really high, but then it only moves a fraction of that much on the other side, right? So those are our emotions. If you want to experience the big joy and the excitement and the fun and the laughter and the peace, the things that you think are good and wonderful that you want more of, you have to open yourself up to the possibility that there are also going to be those counterpoint emotions. The wonderful thing about being able to manage your brain and have emotional agility, though, is you don't have to stay in those negative emotions. So, I've got one more quick example here again about just dealing with that discomfort. And really common pattern that I see is some sort of disagreement with your partner. Maybe it's about cleaning up or spending more time with the kids or how you spend money. And you're just holding it in and not having that conversation because you know it's going to be a hard conversation and you have had it before. It hasn't gone anywhere. So you just hold it in, and that frustration and that resentment and that anger and all those negative emotions are right there and you're experiencing them now. They are not going to magically go away. The person is not magically going to be able to read your mind and to change their behaviors. So you take care of what you control, and that's your thinking and your actions and your feelings. So again, you can have this discomfort and you can choose to stay there. It's familiar. Or you can be uncomfortable, try something new, a different conversation, a different thought, a different action. Again, creating an opportunity to not have as many of those negative things in the future. You don't get to eliminate the discomfort. You get to choose it now and staying there now and later, or now with a possibility of a different later. So having those negative emotions are appropriate. When things don't go your way, it's totally okay to be frustrated or mad. If you are feeling unheard in your relationship, it's okay to have whatever thoughts and feelings that you're having. You don't need to avoid those. Just remember, you don't get to avoid discomfort. And so, what we do so much in coaching is looking at, yes, this is uncomfortable. And here are my choices. And some of those might be uncomfortable too, but boy, the possibility of having a change in the future looks really appealing. Or it's, boy, this is really uncomfortable right now, but wow, some of those changes I'm not ready for. So I'm going to choose to stay where I'm at right now. But now that I'm consciously choosing that, the burden doesn't feel as heavy because I'm now recognizing that it's my choice. So you have choices. Every day, you have thousands of choices. And being uncomfortable is a choice that you have to embrace in terms of when you're going to have it, when things aren't going your way, when you want something to be different. You have a choice to step out and try something different. And it's not always going to feel like this is the absolute right answer. It might be uncomfortable to have that conversation. It probably will be uncomfortable to have that conversation, or to leave a friendship, or to, change a job, or to restrict the way that you are spending. This happens a lot of times in when people are making changes with their health, and you can choose to not have dessert, and you get that urge and it doesn't really feel good, but then maybe you feel better about it and you're grateful down the road that you made a choice you could stick with. Or you go ahead and eat whatever it is that you want and then you regret it later. There's always this back and forth, and just avoiding emotions isn't possible. So make your choice, make a conscious choice instead of just feeling like life is happening to you and that this is negative and I'm just trying to run away from it. Make a conscious choice. There is uncomfortableness all around you. You don't have to stay there though. You can own it. You can choose to move forward differently. You can think about it differently, and I would love to help you be able to do that. But know that experiencing discomfort is the price of a big and vibrant life. It's there. What's also there are the things that feel really good. When you are choosing to move forward consciously and making choices, choosing when you're going to be uncomfortable, and knowing that you can move through it. So I hope you guys have a great week. If you want to learn more about coaching, you can always visit my website and you can contact me for a free 45-minute consultation, or to get onto my email list. You can follow me on social and get different updates there as well. I am accepting clients to start coaching now in September. It's a great time to get into a 12-week coaching program because it will lead you into the holidays when things get really stressful and starting out the new year with all of these skills and tools that you will have ready to go. So reach out to me either on social media, email, or via my website. There are links available, and I would love to hear from you. Talk to you next week. Welcome to Stop Overthinking, the podcast for overthinkers, people pleasers, and perfectionists who want to feel calm and confident enough to handle whatever life sends your way. I'm your host, Kristen Odegaard, a women's life and mindset coach, lifelong educator, and recovering perfectionist.